What's going on, guys? So I just kind of want to hop in here today and talk to you guys a little bit about internet services for RV transport. So I've been doing this for almost 5 years. In that 5 year span, I've used AT&T, Xfinity, which is Verizon, Visible, which is Verizon, and now Starlink. And so I've used multiple different. So I've used an iPad for it with data. I've used AT&T on my personal cell phone. Xfinity was on a cell phone and an iPad. So I've used multiple different devices over time. And I am an Apple person, so they're all iPhones or iPads. And I just kind of want to go over what we have here. So I've actually used the AT&T hotspot wireless router on the go. Like I said, cell phone service. I've used Visible on that, so I'd have Verizon in places, and then now I got Starlink. So what I have found over the last, like I said, almost 5 years, is that none of the services from the carriers are great. You're constantly going to have issues in dead spots. I thought having both Verizon and AT&T was that happy middle ground. So where AT&T won't work, Verizon will. And for the most part, it got me through without too many hiccups. But you go out to Montana or up in the UP or Canada, everything starts to get a little dicey if you're gonna have service or not. You go to Canada and some of them wants to switch over, some of it didn't. You go out to Montana and let's be real, there's nothing. Nobody has service out there. So what that led me to do is start looking into the Starlink. With the Starlink, I have been putting it through its paces for the last month before I did this review. I didn't want to just say, hey, come get this. I bought it, it's great, blah, blah, blah. I went ahead and I've used the crap out of this. I put it in my sunroof, so I don't have a mount to put on the top or anything like that. I have the sunroof, tucks right in, and it seems to be working great. I've had maybe 2 issues in the last month, and it's normally due to too much tree coverage. But back to where I started at with AT&T. I have AT&T service on the phone, AT&T in the hotspot, trying to run everything. You would get to these spots that wouldn't work. You would park for the night. You would roll into the truck stop, rest area, wherever your personal preferences is of sleeping. You'd park. Soon as you put the coverings like that in your window, it kills service. I've done it numerous amounts of times. You park somewhere, it's like, oh, sweet, got good service, it's gonna be a great night. And then come to find out you can't run anything in your phone or in your, like any data or any kind of movies or talk to anybody or that, unless you're outside the truck or your window covers are down. And I just found that to be a pain in the butt. And when something works, sometimes something else would. Like I said, you would still come across things that wouldn't. So far, like I said, I got the Starlink. I feel it's the best route. You do have to watch your data usage. It is something that if you want it to be cheap, you have to sit there and turn on when needed and not just leave it on all the time. I do run my logs off of it because I only have so much hotspot on my phone. So I just do unlimited. It just makes my life easier, and it's not much more than between the 2 or 3 things I've had before that I've been able to cancel that it hasn't fixed it. So my recommendation personally on everything that's out there for the RV transport world, if you just want service everywhere, it's going to be the Starlink. I've went into areas that your phone has lack of service. It has it. You can turn on Wi-Fi calling. You can still make phone calls. Go ahead and stopped at a truck stop one night in North Carolina, put everything up, had 1 bar. Was able to make phone calls and not have a lick of issue talking to somebody on the phone with everything up. So you do have your BS you got to deal with satellite. And what that BS is going to be obviously anything. If you guys have ever had Sirius XM radio, that if you pull into the fuel aisle and you're trying to go ahead and pay on the pump, pay with your apps, you're going to have an issue with the covering right above your head. It's only 20 foot long, but if you do it right before you get in, you won't have an issue. If you go under overpasses and you're on the phone, you'll drop a call for about 3 seconds, or not even 3 seconds, 0.3 seconds. If you are going in a tunnel, obviously you're going to lose it during a tunnel. If you go through a covered of trees, it'll kind of drop out. Other than that, it's pretty much spot on. Speeds, if anybody's interested, I can try to do a video on it with between like the AT&T hotspot and stuff. I'm pulling 150 to 200 megabytes a second, if anybody cares. Basically, that's enough to be able to sit in the back of your truck at night. If you want to play a game, watch a movie, you're fine. I've not streamed, trying to do a live or anything like that. But if you look at all of everything, 140 to 200 megabytes a second will gladly do it. I have yet to find anything else that doesn't have issues. Even that AT&T box, I would get to the point where it randomly have to get it powered off and rebooted driving down the road. It would just lock up. It'd be on and not get service. The phone, that really wasn't too horrible when I was hotspotting off that. It was pretty consistent, but depending on your plan, you could easily go over your hotspot if you're not careful. Some people have unlimited hotspot, and so that would make it nice. I'm just trying to put out my 2 cents. Everybody's got their own. What works for you is what works for you, but if you're just looking for that all around, you want to go out into the West Coast where there is nothing, you want to go into the mountains where there is nothing, Starlink's the way. Like I said, I've had Verizon and AT&T. Basically, because like I said, Xfinity is Verizon for the last 5 years, and I wouldn't trade this right now for anything. So just want to give a quick little update of what I use, how I've been, and hopefully you guys like that. I'd just try to be honest and be real about it. And if you choose to go with it, cool. If you don't, no big deal. I do have a link if you want to reach out to me. That I went and looked into this a little bit. If you go ahead and go order through Starlink, I get a free month service, you get a free month of service. That's it. There's nothing else behind any of this other than I truly just love it. Like I said, I throw it personally in my sunroof and it works great. So hopefully you guys like this, and let me know what your thoughts are on it. Is this something you want to go with or not? Like, comment, subscribe. Talk to you guys later.